Okay, so hi there, everyone. We're going to continue with our batch of videos in the grade 11 statistics and probability. Now we're going to proceed with our chapter 0. I'm still going to call this chapter 0 since this is not yet part of the official curriculum, but this is a need, I believe, when we are going to deal with and learn probability. Now, this is lesson 1.2. This is called the fundamental principles of counting. Now, previously in our lesson before, we have talked about experiments and the sample space, the events and such operations of events, but seldom um uh, take note, we also learned on how to define and how to really write the sample space, but seldom we don't really need to write them all one by one. We what only concerns us is the number of elements, the cardinality in some books, which is what we want. Okay, this will actually lead us to the concept of probability right after this. So, what are the expectations or the objectives for this batch of videos? So, in this lesson, you must be able to differentiate between sum of rule and product of rule. Actually, in this video, we're going to learn that. Next, we will use the sum of rule, or rather, rule of sum, sorry, rule of sum and rule of product, my goodness. And we will use those rules above to solve counting problems. All right. So that's it. Let's get into it. Some introduction first. An important part of probability is counting the number of outcomes of events or sample spaces that result from an experiment. So for sample spaces or events with just a small number of outcomes, this can be done, okay, by listing down or directly counting all the elements. But for larger sample spaces or events, we will need to apply some counting techniques so that we won't need to have a lot of time in counting the number of sample outcomes. So let's start first with the rule of sum, or some will call it the addition principle. So imagine if a particular action can be done in m ways. Imagine this is an integer, and another in n ways. So imagine two numbers here, and the two actions cannot be done at the same time. Okay, so they cannot be done at the same time. So meaning you need to choose between these two. All right. So then there are m plus n ways of doing exactly these actions. So if we cannot do these at the same time, meaning we're going to choose from all of them. So we're going to add so m plus n ways, whatever that m and n is in the natural numbers. So try to imagine this. Jobel wants to travel from Cebu to Bacolod. She sees that there are two possible flights and five possible ferries for today. Assume that she wants to travel today and that she has no restrictions on which mode of transport and schedule. So, when you travel from Cebu to Bacolod, you don't need to have a flight and then some, ferries at the same time. You only need to choose. Will you choose to have it by air or by sea? All right. Of course, we cannot do it by land, right? So, by air or by sea, because it's two separate islands for those not living in the Philippines. So, how do we do that? Since there are two possible flights and five possible ferries, so what we need to do, um, it is not possible to take both a flight and a ferry at the same time. So, by the rule of sum, there are two plus seven. That's your m and n equals, rather two plus five m and n, which is equal to seven ways for Joe Bell to get to Cebu, or rather to Bacolod from Cebu. Okay, so that is one application of the rule of sum. So let's generalize that into a general rule of sum or addition principle still. That is, we're going to add more. We're not going to restrict ourselves with two ways. We can add maybe more than that. Okay, let's generalize it. So for instance, Mark is designing a presentation and is choosing from a template to use for his presentations. Suppose that he has three folders of templates containing 12, 23, and 30 designs, or different designs respectively. Assuming he can only use one design template for his presentation, how many possible choices of templates does he have? So from here we can see that Mark cannot choose a template from folder 1 and 2, or for folder 2 and 3. So he only needs to choose one from among all of them. Okay, he cannot choose the templates together. Okay, so what will be our solution? Okay, a solution will be we're going to make use of the rule of sum. So what would we have is that we're going to add all the templates from all the folders, 12 plus 23 and plus 30. So 12 plus 23, it's gonna give us what, 35 plus 30, we have 65 possible choices over there. Okay, so that's some examples for the rule of sum or the general rule of sum. Let's proceed to the rule of product, or some books will like to call it multiplication principle. Now we're going to consider this. If a particular action can be done in m ways, imagine this m to be an integer, and another in n ways, imagine this n to be another integer, then there are m times n ways of doing both actions. So what we're doing is we're doing both of them one after the other. Or it may be, doing them together. But we won't choose between them. We are doing them both. Okay, it may be one after the other, it may be together. So we're going to consider this. So say you have a milk tea shop, that milk tea shop allows you to construct your own milk tea drink. For instance, you select one tea base and one order of sinkers. So the choice are as given below. So we have here the tea base, black tea, green tea, Earl Grey tea, red tea, and we have the sinkers, pearls, nata de coco, pudding, rainbow jelly, and aloe. So how many choices are there in total? Okay, so we need to first analyze when we are given the choice to have our design, construct our own milk tea drink. We need a tea base and we need some sinkers. Okay, so in such a way we need to have both of them together. Okay, so together, so we need a tea base and we need a sinker for us to construct our own milk tea design. So the total number of possible drink combinations will be how many are here in the tea base. For example, just an instance, you can have a black tea base plus a pearl plus pearls. So that would be one combination. You can have one black tea and nata de coco. That's one combination. Black tea plus pudding, that's another combination, and so on. So imagine lines that I'm drawing lines from here to here, here to here, to here, black tea to rainbow jelly, black tea to aloe. From the green tea, you can also imagine lines from the green tea going to the pearls, green tea going to the nata de coco, green tea going to the pudding, and so on. And then you do that with all the tea bases and sinkers. So and then you try to count the number of lines. So counting the of lines can be tedious to do, and it will be a lot of lines here. Imagine between them. So what can we do? We're going to apply the rule of product here. So we have 4t bases. Multiply that to the number of sinkers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our solution will be 20. So 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so that's one example for the rule of product here. Now, in this slide, I'm going to present some exercises for you to work on and then to practice your general rule of product and general rule of addition or sum. So exercise is currently the format of license plates for vehicles in our country, that's in the Philippines, is 3 letters followed by 4 numbers. So how many different plates can be made in total, and how many different plates are there if letters can be repeated but no 2 numbers can be the same? Letter C, how many different plates can be made if repetition of numbers and letters are allowed, except that no plate can have 4 zeros? And that's for number 1. Number 2 asks us about an exam. So an exam consists of 10 multiple choice questions, each of which has 4 choices. We have number 2, letter A, in how many ways can a student answer the test? And letter B, in how many ways can a student answer the test and get all the questions wrong? Okay. So those are our exercises for this video. We're going to rationalize and answer them all the next video. Okay, so I think it should be that you have a copy of this so that you may participate in the next video. Check your answer and then try to rationalize where you got wrong, or it's better if you got it right. Okay, so I believe that's it for today. Thank you for watching and hope you would like and subscribe, and please do hit that bell button so that you will be updated to the latest content and updates for this playlist in the grade 11 statistics and probability. So thank you very much. See you in the next video.